In the past, Nathan had a normal childhood. He grew up in a great family with his maternal twin sister, Crystal. Unlike his sister, his eyes were different shades of color, the rare genetic condition called heterochroma syndrome. This, for him, being his blue and the other green eye, like his sister's. Nathan and his sister mostly raised by their mother, who cared for them almost equally. Nathan's father, however, tried his best. He was about 6 years old when he noticed his father didn't give him the same amount of attention that he did with his sister. He was a smart kid, and he had an easy time at school. While his sister was a lot better at making new friends, how could she not? In his eyes, he saw her as the nicest person in this life. Often Nathan was quick to anger. He didn't quite know why that was. He just got angry a lot, and so easily too. That temper would get him in many fistfights and arguments with his fellow peers and teachers. His action would then lead to many arguments between his parents, as they were quiet as they could about it, trying to avoid fighting in front of him and his sister. His father would lose it sometimes, his face turning red with anger at the news of another outburst of Nathan's. This was only the beginning of his father's own rage, yelling at Nathan before his mother stepped in and dragged his father away to cool him off. This somehow was in an odd way made Nathan happy to see his parent giving him the attention over his sister, to see how easily it was to manipulate them into certain emotions. It was thrilling to him, even if it was only for a little bit. One night Nathan woke up to whispered words. He frowned and getting out of his bed. He made his way to the bedroom door. He could hear more hushed words. He made his way out onto the hallway as silently as he could. He hushed the words, now making sense as his parents would go back and forth. "You're always too sympathetic for him. Let him off too easily," his father quietly screeches, trying to keep from waking him and his sister. "He's just a kid. He'll learn better," his mother replied softly in a pleading manner. "You always say that. However, he does know better. He's a smart kid. He just doesn't want to behave." "You're being too harsh." "No, I'm not. He cannot keep doing this. Why can't he be like his sister? She's sweet, she's calm, and doesn't rebel like this. A normal freaking child. He'll grow." He heard enough and snuck back to his bedroom. His thoughts and feelings turned slightly bitter and resentful towards his sister. The next few mornings he refused to talk or play with her. It wasn't until she kept pestering his about why, and he yelled at her. After he stopped his yelling, his sister just stood there. His bitter feelings quickly turned into guilt. He could feel his sister's sorrow as if it were his own. He decided to turn his bitter feelings into his father, the one that planted the seed in the first place. Still, because of all this, he still bared some envy towards his sister. However, Nathan loved and trusted his sister completely, partly because he believed she was incapable of doing anything wrong, as their father seemed to imply she's the good one and he is the odd twin. He and his sister understood each other on the level that not all siblings get to. Of course, they had their difficulties, as most siblings do. By the age of 9, Nathan had distanced himself from his parents. They claimed that they cared about him just as equally as his sister. It was clear that wasn't the case. His grades may have been great, but he continued to fight amongst his peers. He never bothered his sister at school. The last thing he wanted was to bug her or have bullies to focus on to her. So instead he just sat there away from everyone at recess and used school as a distraction from social activities. One night his parents went out and the two of them were left with a babysitter. The sitter was annoying to him, and all she did was talk on her phone, so he retired to his bedroom to play. After much time passed, he got an unsettling feeling, agitated, so he left his room. He could hear faint sounds from the living room. This sound was followed by yelling. When he turned the corner, his sister was in a corner crying, the babysitter above her yelling. Her hand was raised to hit Crystal. Nathan's memory after that moment was blacked out. According to his sister, he came running in and tackled down the sitter. The sitter, caught off guard, tried to grab anything and ended up falling back into the TV stand. It knocked the TV off the stand onto her. Luckily, she only had a few cuts and a broken arm. Upon investigation of the whole incident, followed by some therapy analysis, they found that he had an issue with anger. That blacking out was just a side effect of his. From this, he became the more recluse and refused to partake in activities that were too stressful, or even just interact. When they got older, his father left with another woman, leaving them just with his mother. His sister became better known due to her outgoing personality, while he was known as the odd twin. He didn't care though, as long as his sister was happy and he didn't have an episode. On that day, Nathan got ready as per usual. He grabbed some gray pants, black shirt, and his favorite black jacket that his mom swore he always wore. He went downstairs and greeted his sister with a smile. She was wearing her new favorite navy jeans and the t-shirt Nathan bought her as a birthday gift last year. Nathan glanced down at the long necklace hidden in his clothes. It's a bit feminine, but he knew Crystal tried her hardest to get him something special for her birthday. He cherished it, almost as he cared for her. Morning, Nat. I'm staying late at drama tonight. Big rehearsal, she explains, giving a warm smile. Nathan nods and pats his sister on the head. Okay, I'll most likely be hanging out with Jeremy anyway. I'll just pick you up today. How long will it be? He asked, pulling down on some combat boots. About 4 o'clock or so, she replies. Okay, cool. Oh, I almost forgot. My friend Belle has a huge crush on you. She's so shy about it, too. Funny, she laughs, giving Nathan a poke as they head out the door. She the one with the red hair, right? Nathan asks with an nonchalant tone. Ooh, you like her too, huh? Maybe you can now forget about Sarah, she teased, giving a slight shove. He only replies with a roll of his eyes. They would walk to school together, taking the same path the two of them took all the time, talking about random little things. There was an abnormal chill in the air. Something felt off to Nathan, but he shrugged it anyway. They arrived at school. Nathan got some of the normal looks that he came to expect from people nowadays, especially in comparison to his cheerful, bright sister. They took it to be from completely direct words. Oh, did I tell you he asked me out? She chimes with excitement, breaking his thoughts. Oh no, I don't think you did. That's cool. He's the one on the basketball team or something, right? Nathan asks, raising an eyebrow. No, he's the one on the swim team, she replies, jumping a bit. Oh, he replies indifferently, shuffling his hands into his jacket. You don't mind if I date him? She asks, trying to read his face. He laughs at the odd question. You know I don't care about that kind of stuff, as long as you don't get in trouble again. He laughs, giving her a small shove. The day proceeds. Like most school days, his sister busy with her friends, club activities. Nathan, on the other hand, tends to spend most of his time listening to music or tucked away in the library with his friend. He prefers to go somewhere that was quiet rather than loud. After school, Nathan went on his way to meet his friend, but was blocked by a couple of guys. Nathan ignores them, knowing that they only want to try and insult him. As Nathan walked away, he feels a soda can hit his back. He stops and suddenly stood there, hearing the attempt insults through his headphones. He responds to pick up the full can. He stands there for a moment, contemplating the possible scenarios that could happen. He sees out of the corner of his eye the guy is coming towards him. Nathan calmly shoves out of the way, letting the person trip over his own feet to the ground. He gives an amused grin, seeing the guy pissed off. He holds the can above him, dropping it on the guy's face, letting gravity do all the work. As the guy freaks out over the pain, his buddy sure wasn't whenever to attack or back away. Nice try. Tell your sister I said hi, Nathan says with an amused grin. Moving on, his friend just standing there with a stupid look on his face, not sure of what to do. Nathan moves on, walking for him and his friend's meeting place. He frowns, noting the unsettling feeling once more. The one that eats you away, warning you to stay on your toes. A scowl forms on his face as Nathan gets lost in deep thought. Hey, what took you so long? His friend Jeremy calls out. Upon his arrival, Nathan shrugs in reply, taking a seat on one of the benches. I can't stay too long. I need to meet my sister at 4, Nathan says, wrapping up his headphones. Of course you do. Why do you anyway? She's already at the center of attention and doesn't seem like to need you around, Jeremy asked with annoyance written on his face. She's maybe aggravating at times, but she's my sister, and the only one in my family that gets me. Nathan scowls more, losing more of himself than fought once more. His friend shrugs off the response, the area going silent. About 3:45 p.m., Nathan walks back out to the school and waits outside the drama club for his sister. Not long after, the club is dismissed, and everyone starts making their way home. Nathan greets his sister as she runs up to him. Not quite 4 o'clock. Glad I showed up earlier. It would be a shame if I came back here only to miss you. He chuckles. How was drama today? They begin to make their way out of the school. It was great. What did you do? She asks, poking his arm. Oh, just some social experiments and hung out for a while, he says, then chuckles to himself. She raises a brow but shrugs it off with a smile. You know you don't need to walk me home, she says, the mood now getting bitter. She always looks away from him, clearly getting depressed. They slow down to a stop, everything going silent for a long moment. He sighs, breaking the silence. I know Mom is still worried, though, and I am too. You're still recovering, after all. Last thing we want you to, well, you know, he mutters, looking at her. I know, I just feel like I'm sucking away your time, she sighs. Nathan just chuckles and pats her head. You're crazy. I have too much free time and you know it. Come on, let's go, he smiles, moving forward again. As they made their way home along the same familiar road on the empty neighborhood block, Nathan notices a vehicle behind them. He didn't give it much thought though, but he still urges his sister to walk faster. That unsettling feeling is back once more, the same feeling that's been looming over him and all day long. He could feel his heart start to race, like if something was eating him. The sun, while still in the sky, is slowly losing its shine over the land. He looks around the quiet neighborhood, and hardly anyone is home around this time. Most are working, some have kids with after-school activities, so the walk home for them was always quiet at this time. He glances slightly to the car in his peripheral vision, its red color slightly blinding them. They were nearly home, and Nathan could hear a vehicle slowly approaching them. He gently grabs his sister's arm, pulling her closer. Nathan, are you okay? Are you having an episode? She asks, looking at her brother with concerned eyes, trying to read his mind. Just pick up the pace and let's get home, okay? He whispers. They're only about a few houses away, and the car slowly pulls up closer and closer. The sound of tires getting louder. Then it just passes them. Nathan sighs, scolding himself for acting paranoid. He slows down, letting go of his sister's arm. Are you okay? She asks again, stopping her in his tracks. Yeah, I'm fine, let's go, he said certainly. No, you're not. Tell me what has you wound up, she says, not moving from her spot. It's nothing. I was just getting paranoid, he frowns, at feeling like a child. See, that's all you needed to say. I thought you were having one of those blackout moments again. Crystal stops, looking behind Nathan with a puzzling expression. What's wrong? Nathan asks, but as he turns, 3 men jump out of the van, slow down, and had picked up behind Nathan. He pushes his sister behind him, glaring down at the man. Nathan could feel his sister shaken behind him as she held onto the back of his jacket. In a moment they notice the attack. Nathan struggles to keep them away. He manages to get a few blows in before being overpowered. Both he and his sister were dragged into the van quickly. He struggles to break free from them, the overwhelming urge to protect his sister fueling him, however. Nathan is held down to the van's floor with a few punches to his face, attempting to knock him out. The van drives off. Give me, hurry, one of them barks, the words drifting in and out of his mind as Nathan angrily wraps his hands around one of their necks. He growls, feeling something stab into him. He feels himself get weak, his sister's screams lingering in his mind as he falls into darkness. He wakes up in a dark, cold room. The room wasn't too big. It looked like a run-down basement, almost as there were broken pipes along the wall. The smell of rust, dirt, and mold fills the room. Nathan slowly makes his way into a sitting position, his head still pounding with every movement. He winces, noticing a door on the other side of the room. Unlike the room, it looks new and made of metal. He tries to collect his thoughts and recall what happened, but the sound of voices take him away from his thoughts. How much do you think we can get with these two? One man says. Don't know, but their family looks like they can afford it, though, said another. If not, at least we could sell them on the black market or something. Maybe just a girl, that is, if the other guys don't fuck her up too badly. The boy we can just kill or something. The man somewhat laughs. Nathan could barely hear them. Yeah, true, or sell them. Men sell more if you find the right buyer. Usually manual labor factory or drug cartels, the other man replies. Nathan's mind recollects himself with the realization of who the girl they spoke of. He stands up with a stammer, his breathing become raspy and shallow. He can hear them getting closer to the door, quickly searches for something to use as a weapon, but finds nothing. Instead, he waits in the corner of the closet closest to the opening. As the door opens up and he lunges the first man who comes in. "Where is my sister?" he yells, holding the man's throat tightly to the hard, cold ground, his pulse beating against his hands, feeling himself losing to his anger. Smack. He barely felt something hit over his head, knocking him off the man, adrenaline numbing below. The guy hits him again, a swift blow landing onto his stomach after that. Nathan doubles over, holding his stomach. Fucking prick. Let him rot in there. He hears one of the men say bitterly, and a hint of pain lingering in his voice. They slam the door shut with a loud click. It locks. Footsteps slowly become inaudible, and those noises being the drips of the pipes. Nathan lays there in pain, the rush of adrenaline dying off, leaving his head and stomach screaming in pain. He tries to move, but is paralyzed by the mixture of physical misery and emotional turmoil. After a moment of rest, he slowly gets up, lurching here and there. He shakes what pain remains to the back of his mind and stares down at the floor intensely. His skin crawled with anger, knowing his sister is being hurt while he's locked away in the dark. He moves to the metal door and slams his fist fiercely. I will get out, he yells, kicking the door. He continues to hit and kick the door repeatedly, over and over, trying to break it down. After many possible hours, he couldn't keep it up any longer, sliding down on the floor in exhaustion. His body aches in pain, so more his head. He reaches up and wipes his forehead. When he brings down his hand, something catches his eyes. In the darkness, it's hard to tell, but there's no doubt it was blood. Must have been from the blow earlier, but he didn't care. His sister, in his pain, and he can't protect her from it. Nathan attempts to rest, but the aching idea of his sister being hurting by those men is enough to keep him from going to do so. The sounds of the pipes dripping seem to echo, became louder with every drop. He tries to block it out only to hear a scream. This sparks his energy. He folds his breath, trying to listen for anything. Nothing. Nothing at all. It was the fragment of his imagination? All hallucination? He presses his ear on the door. Only the sound is dripping from the pipe. He gets up and begins to pace. His breathing became harsh and shallow once more. He lets out another scream, slamming at the door again. His fists start to throb in pain, the skin of his knuckles starting to rub away. Anger blinds him, pacing again, like a crazed animal stuck in a cage. Nathan wakes up feeling groggy, his body aching and still exhausted from sleeping on the concrete floor. He winces when getting up, his hands swollen and scabby from the missing skin. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, sis. But don't worry. I'll get out and beat those fuckers, Nathan whispers to himself, a smile forming on his lips, imagining them in a torturous agony. He grips his throat, looking around and barely let room for something, anything at this point. A pipe is leaking from somewhere. He follows where the sound to a far corner, a dusty, rusty pipe in the source of the sound. With some hesitation, he stares at the pipe, changing his mind for a moment. His throat, however, made the final decision. He takes a sip of the small water dripping out, and it tastes awful. He spits the taste away, refusing any more. Last thing I need. I have to get out, Nathan murmurs to himself, turning back to the metal door, trying to think of a way to get it open. His breathing grew heavy and frustrated again. Finally, he wants to make them a move and slams his body onto the door. Not even a dent, he attempts again. When that doesn't work, he hits it with frustration. His hand, however, didn't agree with the idea, and they were too shallow to keep hitting it. He slams himself once again against the door and then kicks it. When he couldn't bring it down the door that way, he begins pacing once again. This continues for what seems like an eternity. His knuckles now just scraped off flesh and bones from pounding at the door. Nathan huffs and glares at the unmoving door. He couldn't stay still any longer. The door stood there, taunting him, the only thing keeping him from freedom. The room spins around, his body weak from the lack of essential needs. I'm going to kill them all. Kill them. Make them suffer, Nathan yells, throwing the lost piece of concrete at the door. The echo of the metal ringed right through the room, the sounds of dripping water sending chills up his spine. Every second those two taunting him, laughing at his misery, the sounds of his sister's screams filling his mind, but he suddenly, after some time, they went silent. Nothing but a rhythmic drip. More days seemed to pass him, and he slowly slips into the same cycle, hunger getting the best of him. He's exhausted, but he didn't stop. In fact, he couldn't stop. He hits his head on the wall. I'll kill them, Nathan whispers to himself, repeating it over and over. He finally caved in and drank more of the water, the taste now dwindling to nothing. The dripping stops and he paces back and forth, over and over again. He could swear he could hear her screaming for him. He could hear her voice speak to him. He began to see the door opening up, but no, only a hallucination. Nathan breathes heavily, like some rabid animal. The door is screaming at him now. Finally, with a twitch, he yells out. He grabs onto one of the heavy, rusty pipes and pulls at it. It didn't budge at first, until finally with a snap, it pulls away at one of the rusty hinges. He stands silently at the door, it's still swaying back and forth, slowly raises the heavy pipe, and with all of his strength brings it down on the door. The door makes a twisted metallic sound, as if it was screaming in agony. He grins, pulling the pipe back up. A small dent had been made. He laughs dryly, pleased by this. He brings the pipe down over and over again, with every hit of hope to free him and his sister. The door grows louder and louder with every hit, the metallic sound like screams of defeat. Every swing growing heavier, and with that Nathan only laughs harder. He stops to have a look over the dents on the door. Nathan grins at the progress of the door, still standing there, shaking. It's time to die, Nathan whispers, each word sliding off his tongue. Nathan raises the metal pipe up high again. He stands there, looking away from the metallic door that holds him there, the last hit making the door move away from the doorframe. He brings down the pipe with a great speed. Finally, the door breaks loose from his hinges. He manages to push them off through the heavy door, and the sounds of the door squeaking painfully loud as he steps through. Nathan walks through the dark basement, easily finding the door enough through the darkness that his eyes were adjusted to. Feelings of hope flooding him. Finally, the relief knowing that he can save his sister pulsed through him rapidly. He could go to her. He could save her. He heard voices above him on the other floor speaking. Are you still on that? Sorry, but I had to kill her. The bitch went crazy. Bit off some poor man's hand. The man speaks, no remorse in his tone. Yeah, true, I was getting tired of seeing her face anyway. All bloody and shit, it was gross. Well, speaking of which, do you think that one punk is dead by now? He asks another. No empathy in his tone. Nathan begins to shake, tears beginning to form in his eyes. He feels something cold on his shoulder. No, this can't be happening. It's a lie. No, 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 no! He refuses to believe it. The hope in his body weighing down heavily on him, as if 2-ton boulder had been placed on his chest, slowly cutting off his air supply. He stumbles into the room, moving back and forth. Yeah, I bet it's been over a week. I doubt he's breathing. The other man laughs. Nathan hears them make their way to the basement stairs and slowly begin to walk down, still talking away. Their voices numbing buzz. His grief quickly turns into unquenchable rage. The wrath slowly, very clearly on his face, his body pulsing with superabundance of emotions boiling out of control, his mind feeling like it's being split violently open. Everything in goes silent. Nathan, kill them. He hears a voice whisper so clearly, the silence following the bitter words. It's too quiet. He looks at the doorway. Drip, 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 he mumbles, barely audible. Nathan grips the pipe in his hand. With a twisted grin forming on his face, the men open the basement door, not suspecting the two busy talking to each other. Nathan swings down at the first man, a loud sickening crunch following the blow. The man falls down instantly, his head easier to break than a metal door. The other man just stands there in terror and shock as Nathan smiles, greets him. The pipe drips from the first man's blood have been falling all over dead. I was told to kill you too, he says. Then he laughs, swinging the pipe down at the horrified man. Nathan continues to hit the man, making sure he suffers greatly with every blow. The man screams out in pain until he suddenly stops moving. There were no more noise, only the sound of dripping blood. He didn't move anymore, but Nathan continues to land blows to him blindly. His breathing, heavy, steadies as he comes to a stop, enjoying the sound of dripping blood. Then he made his way upstairs, quietly avoiding making any more noise. He finds the other two men on the upper floors, one too busy with what he was doing, the other rustling through something. Neither hears a thing. Nathan steps into the man rustling through a drawer. The man turns, a gun clearly in his hand. But he's too late. His face turns into horror seeing the blood-soaked young man standing behind him before the blur of something lands to his temple. He falls to the ground, unmoving. The last man, upon hearing the noises, awaits in his room for Nathan, and after a struggle, he goes down well. Nathan makes his way to his sister, a smile on his face. He opens the door, delight filling his mind. So happy to see her again. Sorry it took so long, but I'm here now, Nathan speaks quietly. He making his way over to his sister's lifeless body. Don't cry, we're safe, and I will keep you safe. After all, the more of them are out there right now. He frowns, looking at the doorway. No, shh, please don't cry anymore. I will protect you, sis. I promise after all, remember? I will kill them for what they put us through. I will save you still. He pats her head, her blood covering his hand. He didn't seem to notice her disfigurements or blood. He completely blocks it all out as she lay there, rotting from death, ignoring the fact that her skull is bashed in. Let's go, Nat. There's more. He hears a whisper softly to him. He grins so happy to be with his sister again. Yes, let's go, he whispers, making his way down the stairs, soon leaving the house. I need to save you by killing them. That's how it works. I'll kill them, sis, he says with a grin, holding the bloody pipe tightly in one hand.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please stay pretty.